Today's class is going to be focused on the hips and forward folds. It's going to be nice and gentle because it's morning when I was recording this. So feel free to do this practice at any time, but it is a great way to slowly wake the body up and prepare for the rest of your day. So when you're ready, grab a mat or a towel, come to your easy seated pose, and then just place the hands onto the knees with the palms turned up. We can close the eyes and just start to take deep breaths. Feeling the rise and fall of the chest. Try to relax the belly so that it's free to move. Feeling the weight of your sit bones grounding you into the mat. And just make sure that the legs are relaxed. Feel how each vertebra of the spine is stacked one on top of the other. And then imagine a very gentle lift in the spine, just sitting up a little bit taller than you usually would. Relax the shoulders, allowing them to be heavy, melting down. And then even relax the fingers, allowing them to gently curl upwards. Relax the muscles of the face, the eyelids, the temples, even the jaw. And then bringing your awareness towards your heart. We'll bring the hands to your heart center, so press the palms together. And just take a moment to feel gratitude. You can direct this gratitude towards something in your life, or just the feeling of gratitude on its own. And then gently blinking the eyes open, and we're ready to begin. So we'll all come onto all fours, placing the hands underneath the shoulders, spreading the fingers out whenever we have hands on the mat, just to protect the wrist joints. Knees are underneath hips and slightly apart. And then we'll start off with our cat-cows, just to warm up the spine. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin towards the chest. Inhale, arch, moving through the vertebra. Exhale, round, push away from the mat. Inhale to arch. And exhale. Now coming to a neutral spine, we're going to step the knees one big step backwards, and then walk the hands one big step forwards. So from here, just dropping the chest straight down, keeping the legs perpendicular to the mat. And you can rest your forehead onto the mat, or your chin, if that's comfortable for you. Just feeling the upper back stretched out. Imagine your chest melting down towards the mat. This is puppy pose. So we're just going to be here for a couple more breaths. Then to release, come up to a halfway lift. Gaze forwards, look where you're going, and then place the elbows onto the mat. Bring the hips down. And now we're not sinking down, we're lifting through the chest into our Sphinx pose. So even lifting the head, almost pushing the throat outwards. And just breathe. Try to relax the legs, the glutes. Just feel the chest pull through the shoulders. From here, slowly release the torso halfway down Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, push up onto the knees, and we'll come into a child's pose. So bringing the hips onto the heels, slide the hands back, and then relax the forehead onto the mat. And just breathing, feeling that gentle curve in the lower back. And this is our resting pose, so you can come to this pose whenever you need to. From here, slowly come back to all fours. Walk the hands one step forwards. Tuck the toes. And then we'll come into a plank. So just moving around in your plank, just feeling into the wrists, the ankles. Maybe doing little circles or little movements back and forth. And then we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So bending the knees, slide the hips up and back. And keep the knees bent as you bring the chest closer towards the thighs. Keep pushing away with the arms. And you might see that your head is lifted. So try to bring the head between the arms. And then you can gaze at your feet and just breathe. Then let's walk out our dog, so bending one knee at a time. Feeling into the hamstrings. They might still be waking up, so take it easy on them. And then preparing to come forwards, bending the knees, gazing between the thumbs. And then take 2 big steps to the front of your mat. So feet behind wrists. You might need to help the feet along, that's fine. Relax the forehead when you come to forward fold. And then keeping a bend in the knees, slowly start to drag the arms. Coming all the way up to Tadasana, mountain pose. So in your mountain pose, it's an active standing. Standing up nice and tall, the palms are facing forwards. And take a moment to close the eyes. Noticing how the body feels. And then we can open the eyes and step to the front of your mat. We'll just do a few rounds of sun salutations to wake the body up. Bringing the hands to heart center. And when you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms, lengthen up. Exhale, fold forwards. I'm going to keep my knees bent, it's still early. Inhale to halfway lengthen, open the chest, keep the spine straight. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. And we'll first lower down with knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale, slide through to cobra, keep the shoulders pulled down away from the ears. Exhale onto the knees, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And then we'll pause for a breath. You can again walk out your dog, dip your hips side to side, just get nice and comfortable. And then bending the knees, gazing forwards, 2 big steps. Try to step feet behind wrists, relax the head. Inhale, halfway lengthen. Exhale, release to fold. Next inhale, sweep the arms, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Again, inhale, lengthen up, maybe arching back slightly. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands. Feel free to step or hop back to plank. Lowering down knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, hovering the body, keeping the elbows tucked. Onto the tops of the feet, lifting up for upward facing dog. Thighs, knees off the mat. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a pause, reconnecting to the breath if you've lost it. And then bending the knees, gazing forwards. If you hopped back, try hopping forwards. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lengthen. Exhale, relax and fold. Next inhale, sweep the arms, reaching up, arching back if you did. And exhale, hands to your heart. And just take a pause, notice the effects in the body. Notice the warmth through the body. Maybe a sense of flow. And then we'll just do one more to solidify it. So inhale, lengthen up, arching back. Exhale, fold. Maybe going a bit deeper this time, maybe straightening the legs. Inhale, halfway lengthen. Exhale, plank. Lowering down, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, everyone to downward facing dog. Take a breath. And then preparing to come forwards, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms, final arch. And exhale, hands come to rest. All right. We'll do some balancing now. It's good to do balancing in the morning and just see where the body's at. And it's fine if it's not great because it is still early. So we'll come into our dancer pose. So let's plant the left foot down. Using the right hand, grab hold of the inside of the right foot. So you're holding from the big toe. Take the left arm, reach it out in front of you. As you lean forward, you can keep a slight bend in the standing leg. Slowly start to kick the right foot into the right arm or hand and start to lift it up and away from you. So leaning slightly forward, your gaze is past the front hand. And just find your balance. If you fall out, just step back in. Slowly come back, try to release with control. Try. And then we'll come over onto the left side. So plant the right foot down. Left hand grabs hold of the left foot from the inside, from the big toe side. Then from here, right arm reaches forwards. And slowly lean forwards. You can slightly bend the standing leg. And just breathe. Find a focus point. Find your balance. When you're ready, slowly release. Try to do it with control. Bring the foot down. All right, so see how that feels. And we'll do it again at the end of the practice and it'll feel a lot better, I can guarantee that. Inhale to reach up, lengthen out. Exhale to fold. Inhale to halfway lengthen. Exhale to plant the hands, step back to your plank. From your plank, we're going to bring the right foot to the outside of the right hand. So step it forwards. If it didn't quite get there and it was there, just grab hold, bring it as far forward as is comfortable for you. And then we're in a lunge position, so just feel into the lunge, make sure your body is comfortable, there's no knots or kinks. And then if you can, release the back knee onto the mat. Feel free to put a pillow or a bolster underneath that back knee if it's sensitive. Point the toes back. And then just using your right hand, open up the right knee, breathing into it. So you can play around with the angle of this stretch. Just notice how it changes. Find your edge and then hold. Breathe. Try to relax the body in the pose. From here, we're going to bring the hands down. Walk this foot in between the hands, so it's more aligned with the hip. Then from here, coming into a low lunge, so you can stay on fingertips or bring the hands onto the knee. Check that the ankle is underneath the knee so that there's a straight line with the shin. And then just gently breathing into the left hip flexor, feeling the effects of the stretch. Not going too far. Then we'll release fingertips to the mat. Slowly slide the hips back. Flex the foot. And then just leaning slightly forward. So as long as the front leg is straight, you can even be balancing up here, placing the hands on the thigh. Just gently leaning forwards. And only if the body allows, bring the hands down, relax the head. Breathing into the right hamstring. Just allowing the energy to flow through the muscles. One more deep breath here. And then we'll slowly release, coming onto fingertips. Tuck the back toes. Extend the back legs so you're in a pyramid pose. Keep the front foot flexed if you can. And then we'll release the foot. Bring the back heel down so that the back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Now you might need to bring the hands onto the leg, onto the shin. And then just breathe, relax, or slide the hands further down. Bring fingertips either side of the front leg. If this front knee wants to buckle or bend, means you're going too far, rather come up. Even hands on thigh. As long as you feel the front leg stretching, you're doing it right. It doesn't matter how it looks, how far down you're going. So just breathe. And again, trying to relax the body. So relax the head and neck, relax the shoulders. Try to find a sense of comfort within the discomfort of the stretch. We'll bring hands together. Inhale, sweep the arms reaching up. Exhale, hands to heart. Now we're going to open up to the left. Bring the arms parallel to the floor, gazing over the front palm. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, leaning forwards. Bring right hand onto the right leg. Left arm reaches straight up. If you have the flexibility, you can bring the hand onto the floor, in front or behind the front leg. And then just checking that your hand is right up straight above you. You're either gazing past the hand or down at the floor. And this is our Trikonasana triangle pose. Breathe, relax, and try to notice how the body reacts to the pose. From here, we're coming up, so bring the arms parallel to the floor. And then keeping the legs as they are, just bending the front knee into your warrior two. So check that the arms are aligned, active straight arms, sinking nice and low, almost getting a 90-degree angle with this front knee. Then flipping the front palm to face up, back hand onto back leg, reach the top arm up and over for your peaceful warrior. Slowly come back to center. Take a breath. Then we'll windmill the hands down. So bring right hand down, left hand down. Pivot onto the back foot so it's facing forwards, heel is lifted. And step the right foot back to plank. We'll do a little vinyasa. So exhale to chaturanga or drop the knees for support. Inhale, upward facing dog. Thighs, legs off the mat. Exhale to downward facing dog. And again, maintain that bend in the knees if it helps the spine stay straight. As soon as this happens, we're not getting the proper effects of the pose, and we're putting a lot of strain on the upper body. So rather bend the knees, straighten the spine. From here, roll through to plank. And this time we'll step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. First, just making sure you're comfortable. You can sway the hips side to side, even just move forwards and backwards, feeding into the back ankle. And like I said, you can always place a pillow underneath the knee or double up your mats if you've got more than one. Point the back toes and then opening up the hips so you're almost twisting to the side, pushing the left knee out. And you can even roll onto the outer edge of that foot. Just breathe, keep sinking the hips forwards and down, feeling into the hips. And then we'll gently bring the foot in line with the hips, so bringing the foot between the hands, coming onto fingertips, and you are welcome to stay here, or bring the hands onto the knee, sinking the hips down. So a lot of the tendency is to come up to a very comfortable 90-degree thing. We want to push the hips forwards and down. So sometimes you might find your foot is too close, and just stepping it forwards allows you to get that comfortable sink in the hips. You should really feel this in the right hip flexor. Take another breath. Then we'll bring fingertips down, slide the hips back, straighten the front leg, flex the toes. And again, if you don't have the range yet, rather come up, find your balance, or if you've got blocks or books, you can place the hands comfortably there. If you've got a lot of flexibility, feel free to take your fingers forwards and even rest your head on your knee. And just breathe into the hamstring. Remember that as soon as the knee buckles, come up. Releasing now, so bending into the front knee. Bring hands forwards, tuck the back toes, extend the back leg off the mat, flex the front foot if you can. Take a breath, and then release the front toes, and bring the back heel down, maybe angling the foot 45 degrees. Whatever's comfortable for the body. You might need to walk the hands up on the leg or keep them either side of the front foot. As long as both legs are straight, you're feeling it into the hamstring, you're doing it right. Then we'll bring palms together. Inhale, swirl up. And exhale, bring hands to heart. This time opening towards the right. Keep the arms nice and long, pulling them away from each other. Inhale to lengthen up the spine. Exhale, leaning forwards. Hand to leg, opposite arm straight up. So you'll try and align the shoulders, the arms. Breathing into the front leg, maybe even feeling a little stretch in the side body. If the gaze up is not comfortable, feel free to relax the head looking down. Deep, slow, deliberate breaths. Preparing to come up so you can gaze down at the mat. Bring the arms parallel and then sinking into the front knee, 90-degree bend. Arms nice and active, gazing over the front arm. Warrior two. Deep breath here. And then peaceful warrior, flip front palm, lift the arm up and over. Keep sinking to the front knee, don't let it lift. Deep breaths. Relax the neck. Then slowly come back to your warrior two. And we'll windmill the arms down. Pivoting onto the back foot. Step back. And we'll do our vinyasa. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And then we'll drop the knees to the outsides of the mat, so wide knees. Point the toes and bring the toes to touch. And come into another variation of child's pose, so bringing the forehead onto the mat. And just feel how this creates a little bit of space for the rib cage. And just allowing yourself to reconnect with your breath. Just enjoy how little effort is required in this pose. And then slowly release, bring the hands back. So sitting on the knees, bring the knees together and just turn the palms to face up, taking a moment to pause. The eyes are closed. Just noticing again the effects in the body. And then we'll open the eyes, bring the hands onto the mat, tuck the toes, and then just walk the feet to the outsides of the wrists. So you're going to turn the feet 45 degrees outwards, and then slowly lower the hips to our yogic squat, malasana. So you can play around with the distance of the feet. They don't need to be too far apart. If it's closer and it's better, that's fine. If the heels are lifted, that's also fine. You can always just balance like this, or you can place a blanket or something underneath the heels just to make it more comfortable. Otherwise, we're bringing the hands to heart center, using the elbows to open up the knees, and trying to sit up tall. So rather than rounding and, being like that, we want to be upright, keep some activation in the spine, and then find some softness in the pose. So just breathing. Maybe the ankles are quite tense, maybe the hips. So just notice where the tension is and breathe into it. Then we'll release by bringing the hands behind us. Gently come onto your seat and bring soles of the feet together for our butterfly Baddha Konasana pose. Interlacing the hands around the feet. Inhale, and as you exhale, melt down over the legs. You might not be coming down so far, that's okay. And sometimes it's first about getting the knees down. So over time, the hips will release. Just take it to your level, respecting your body's limits for today. And with patience and time, we will slowly release and open up the body. You can slowly roll up. And then we'll keep the legs as they are, just extending the right foot all the way down the mat. Bring the left foot higher up and push it against the inner thigh. Flex the right foot, bring hands together. Inhale, lengthen up. And then as you exhale, fold forwards over the front leg. So placing the hands either on the leg or either side. And just imagine hinging from the hips Rather than using the shoulders to touch the toes, we would rather open up the chest, straighten the spine as much as we can, and just lean forwards. You'll still feel the stretch, which is the main part of this pose. It's not about touching your toes. It's simply about stretching out the front leg, opening up the opposite hip. So that is the purpose of the pose. So we don't want to add strain to the back just because we think the pose should look like this. So even I prefer to rather come up because I still feel the stretch and my spine is happy like this. Deep breaths. And then slowly make your way up. And we'll take this top leg and stack it over the front leg. So stacking the knees, just adjust the sit bones that you're comfortable, and you'll feel that this is quite intense. So you might not go as far down, and that's perfectly normal. Just again leaning forwards and just having this weight on the front thigh really intensifies the stretch. So just breathe, don't go too far. Just notice how this changes it. And then we can slowly come up. I'm just going to lift the knee slightly, bend the bottom knee, bring the heel in nice and close. And then restack the knees, adjust the sit bones as you need to. So this is our cow face pose. I can actually turn towards you just to show you. So it might not look like this. Your leg might be up here. As long as you feel, it's a very subtle stretch, but quite intense. So it's a small area, but it's quite intense. And I don't really know where it is, but somewhere you'll be feeling something. If you aren't, try coming forwards, relaxing the forehead towards the knee. And if you still want more sensation, you can come even further down. Try to sink the hips back, but bring your weight forwards. So you're really stretching out the hips. Taking deep breaths here, trying to relax the hips as much as you can. And sometimes it helps to just close the eyes, focus on the breath. Try to stay present in the body. Try to notice where the tension is, what the body is saying, what emotions are arising. And this just helps us to become aware of these things and to release things that we hold in the body. All right, we will release. So slowly, if you were down, bring the torso up. And very gently, very slowly, just release the top leg. So I'm going to turn back to how I was. So top leg is released. And then step both feet onto the mat. Bring the hands behind you. And then just drop the knees gently from side to side. So windshield wipers. Just feeling into the hips. Just loosening up the body a bit. And then from here, sitting at the center of the mat, left leg straight out in front of you, and bring the right foot. So even if this knee is up, that's fine. You can always support with a pillow underneath the knee, or keep it where it is. Hands together, inhale, reach up, lengthen out. Exhale, hinging from the hips, just leaning forwards and breathing. Also becoming aware of the difference between the sides. And you can always pause the video on the side that's more stiff and hold it for a bit longer. Deep breaths. Use the breath to release the tension. With every inhale, maybe lengthening out more. With every exhale, maybe softening, relaxing into it. Just finding that balance between effort and surrender. We can slowly come up, and then we'll stack the knees. So bringing the leg across, stack the knees, keep the bottom foot flexed, and then just leaning forwards, just feeling the intensity increase with some pressure. Breathing into it, again relaxing as much as you can, while still maintaining the shape, still keeping the foot active and flexed. But then finding that softness, so not creating more tension by trying to force the body into a position. The body will open up and allow it with time. Slowly coming back to center. Then just lifting the knee slightly, bring the bottom knee in towards you, and just make your adjustments, sit bones, knees, and you'll definitely feel a difference between the sides. Maybe not coming down as far on this side. And this is our cow face legs. It's not the full pose, but the legs of it are cow face. So just breathing into it, relaxing the hips, maybe relaxing the forehead if you can. It's nice to rest it on the knee. And when we do yin yoga, we will probably hold this for at least 3 minutes. So I'm not going to be so cruel this morning. I'm going to just hold it for a few breaths. But just so that you're aware, there is a lot longer holds that we do, especially for the hips. We hold a lot of our emotions in the hips. So by doing these poses, we can release stagnant energy, old emotions, and things that have just stuck in the body. Let's take one more deep breath here. And then slowly release. And a lot of the sensation is actually felt as you release this pose. So very gently release the top leg, plant it down, and you'll feel it's almost as if you've been holding a lock, and then as soon as you release, there's almost a flow of energy. So try to sense these kinds of things. It will be different for everybody. You might not feel the same sensations, but just notice what your body experiences in each pose, in each release of the pose. Windshield wipers, just loosening up the hips, loosening up the legs. We did quite an intense hip stretch now, so adding some movement is always a nice release. All right, and then we'll just make our way onto our backs. So you can slowly lower down, bring the knees into the chest, relax the head onto the mat, squeeze the legs, and just gently rock side to side, just massaging the back. Allow the head to roll with you, and you can even come all the way over onto the elbow, and the same on the other side. And just breathe, enjoy a little spinal massage. And then our final pose is Happy Baby, and it's a beautiful hip opener. Might feel weird at first, but just trust me, it's going to do you wonders. So bringing the arms to the knees, grab hold of the outsides of the feet, the outer edges. Bring the feet straight up as if you're about to stand on the ceiling. Knees are bent, and you're opening up the hips slightly. But the ankles are above the knees, so it's not necessarily very wide or in. Try to get that 90-degree bend again. You almost don't want to peel the lower back off the mat, so a very gentle sensation of just pushing the tailbone into the mat. And then a very gentle pulling down from the feet, so pulling the legs down, and you're almost thinking of getting your knees to touch the floor. Just that sort of sensation of direction. Then close the eyes and allow yourself to feel into the hips. The longer we hold this one, it gets very intense very quickly, so we will be here for a few breaths. Just to notice, just to pay attention, and just stay with the breath. We're almost done. Stay here, breathe, try to relax. You don't need to pull down too much. Okay, gently releasing. Just bring the feet together. Gently bring the knees together. And then as a counter stretch, bring the feet onto the mat. Walk them to the outsides of the mat. And then drop the knees together. So pushing the knees to touch or to be close to each other. And you'll just feel a very tiny little sensation in the upper hip. So just breathe, just a couple breaths. After that hip opener, we just want to counter stretch, get a different sensation. And then gently parting the knees, slide the legs along the bottom of the mat. Make sure you're nice and comfortable, so lift your shoulders off the mat, place them down, tuck your chin, place the head down, just loosen out the hips, lifting the sit bones, place them down, and then even just shimmy the feet further away from each other, flop them out to the sides. I like to take the arms away from the body, palms facing up, and we're ready for our Shavasana, corpse pose. So we do this at the end of a class, just to allow all the work and the releasing and the energy movement we've done to just settle within the body. This also helps to ground you, and just almost as if it's a meditation. So close the eyes, relax the jaw. Allow the body to become completely relaxed. Not controlling the breath, and trying to stay with a clear mind. So following the breath through the body, not engaging with any thoughts. And once your body is comfortable and you found your position, try to find a sense of stillness, like the surface of a lake, unaffected by any ripples, any distractions. Feel the rise and fall of the belly. Feel any sensations through the body. Try to see if you can sense your heartbeat or your pulse. And just become aware of the body as a whole system. And finally, bringing your awareness back to your heart, allowing that gratitude we felt earlier to just flow through the whole body. You can imagine a color or a light slowly spreading through the entire body and then emanating out of the body, filling out the entire room. Maybe going outside of the room, filling up the entire planet. And even the entire solar system, the universe. Extending your gratitude outwards, and then slowly bring it back to your heart. Allowing it to settle there. If you'd like to stay in corpse pose for longer, and I do encourage that, feel free to just pause the video and then come back slowly into this position. If you want to release, let's move the toes gently, move the fingers, very gently and slowly step 1 foot at a time onto the mat. And then hug your knees into the chest. You can give a gentle rock side to side. Grabbing hold behind the knees, gently rock up to seated. Coming to easy seated pose. Hands resting on the knees. Close the eyes if they've opened. And just take a moment for the body to adjust. And then we'll bring hands to heart center. And thank you. Namaste.